Toby, I know it's not the position that the team wants to be in, but let's talk about you. You had a lot of plaudits for what you've done since you've come in. How have you found it from a personal form point of view?
Yeah, obviously personally I feel like I'm playing some good football. It's, like I said, it's been brilliant for me to come in and sort of prove myself at Football League. That's what I've always wanted. Obviously speaking to the gaffer, he was going to give me that chance, which he's done. Obviously results haven't been going the way that we wanted, but obviously football is a quick turnaround, and we do know that anything can happen, although it sounds like a bit of a cliche. There's still 10 games, 30 points up for grabs, so we take each week as it comes.
Yeah. For you as well, have you found that step up? Because it kind of seems, and I don't know whether maybe this is the National League's getting better now and there's not much in it between that and League Two, but it seems for you slotted in quite easily.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. Although the National League sort of classed as non-league, the standard's really, really good. You've got some huge teams in there, some big players, lots of money gets spent in that league. So the standard is improving every year because people are trying to get into the Football League. I think the big names like Wrexham, Notts County, Chesterfield, all massive teams, so the standard's really high. So for me to be sort of playing from 23 to 25 there, week in, week out, is where I got all my experience from, and grew in confidence, and sort of led me to where I am now. And
when you were there, did you always have aspirations to sort of have a full-time career in it? You know, did you think that the opportunity would come, or has it now been a bit of a shift in life, I guess, for you as well?
Yeah, it was always one of those. As soon as I was a kid, I wanted to be sort of professional. Obviously got that opportunity at Crewe, and it just didn't quite materialise how I wanted it to. And then it was sort of a steep climb back up to it. Obviously I was fortunate to get the chance at Altrincham, which I was delighted with. And then it was just a case of me sort of improving year on year, trying to work at things to get better. And then, like I said, sort of developing from a boy to a man, and thankfully getting the chance to go and push myself and test myself in the Football League.
But back to Rochdale and the form, is the most frustrating thing about last weekend that you go and beat Stevenage so comfortably, and it actually now kind of maybe feels like a more of a disappointing result than even some of those other ones on the run of defeats, just because of how far you might have felt you'd come?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been brilliant to have gone and got back-to-back wins, but it's just fine margins in football, so it's, again, cliche, but it's a Stonewall penalty on myself in the second half to take us to potentially 1-0, and then the game completely changes and swings in your favour. And I think we come away there if that goes in with a win. Again, we've just got to stay positive, take all the things that we can from each game and move on to the next. Training's good, training's always intense, and we give ourselves sort of the best chance every day, and then every weekend when we step over that white line.
Time is running out, there's no doubt about that though, is there?
No, I mean, like I said, 10 games to go, we all know the position that we're in, but it's down to us as players to go and get those results. Like I said, there will come a point where it's too late, so we've got to try and do it as quickly as we can. Like I said, it was massive to get that win over Stevenage, and the confidence was there. If we could have gone back-to-back wins, again, that would have put even more pressure on the ones above us. But we just got to remain focused, know that the task is there for us to go and do and go out and do it.
There's been no secret as well that you know there's players from all sorts of levels, backgrounds, clubs in this Rochdale team because of the kind of the recruitment and the different managers. How do you all kind of find a common ground and coming together? You know, do you socialise outside of training much? Because it seems to me that there is a good team spirit, but clearly there are a lot of different personalities.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of different characters, but football's one of those. Everyone seems to know someone else. So like me and myself, when I first came in, although I've not met any of them individually myself, there was always sort of a talking point that would stem things off. But the group's really together. It's a really good change room to be involved in. Although obviously we're right back at the bottom of the league at the minute. The camaraderie is still there in the dressing room, and everyone's trying to lift the spirits to make sure that we get out of the position that we're in. And like I said, it's down to us. We do things outside of training. In training, we're always doing stuff together. So it's just a case of trying to stick together and get ourselves out of the position that we're in.
Because I know as well, like Jim, I know likes you to maybe have a meal or something before the matches. You know, make sure that's all together, even at our home games sometimes. Yeah. Has it been maybe things like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's things that we do outside of football together, but then there's things again that we can do in training, whether it's little table tennis competitions upstairs or whether it is bringing us in early to make sure that we're all sat together, sort of having our meals ready for the game. But I think that's something that's important. Obviously, with the position that we're in, we've got to remain positive. If you don't, it's only going to make it harder. So for us to stay together is all that we can do, and that's what we are doing.
How are you coping with it? Because it's not a position that I'd imagine you've really been in your career before at the bottom of the league like this.
Yeah, it's a first for me, but again, I said that when I came in here, when I signed, I'm obviously wanting to push myself out of my comfort zone, and it's a new test for me. That, like I said, although we've not had all the results that we wanted, there's been some positive signs. There is still a long way to go. I know it sounds like a bit of a cliche, but anything can happen in football. One win can sway it, one team above you loses, and the momentum sways in your favour. So 10 games to go, there's no point sulking around. We're the ones responsible for getting ourselves out of this position.
The mood of the fans definitely went up after the Stevenage game, but there has been a bit of discontent. Some not happy, with the manager. But from what people, what players have been telling us, players who seem to be behind Jim Bentley.
Yeah, 100%. We are. Like I said, for me personally, I owe him a lot. He's the one that's given me the chance to come and prove myself in the Football League. And obviously we spoke in depth before I joined about the position that we're in, and it's down to us. I mean, the manager can get the negatives from fans after games, but we as 11 players, we have to take responsibility on the pitch as soon as we step over that white line, because we're the ones responsible for putting the ball in the back of the net and keeping it out of our own. So for those 10 games, that's what we've got to try and do and see where we end up.
And what are you expecting from this weekend?
It's going to be a big fixture, a tough side. Obviously we're doing the work on them this week. We know that they're a footballing side, and they'll probably bring a decent crowd and they're in and around it. So their aim is probably slightly different to us. It'll be two teams looking to go and get a win, and hopefully we're the ones that can come out on top.